Hello everyone and welcome to another information video. Thought I was going to go into a coughing fit there. CA sniped me again. 2 times in a row when I've been uploading an information video. They have the great grace of giving us even more information. Now I'm definitely not sour, because I love all the information Misa can get my hands on. But I just think, oh, my timing? I wish I had better timing. But anyway, I get to make another video on it, so I shouldn't be complaining. I should be happy as Larry. Now, this video they released was the Vampire Counts campaign video. Sort of how we've seen the Dwarf one, we've seen the Empire one, we've seen the Greenskin one. It had lots of nice and juicy little tidbits. The campaign was, I think it was roughly 112 turns in. So once again, when you look at the landmass he actually owns, we don't know if this is Al Bickham's campaign, it's him narrating, but he doesn't tell us if it's his campaign. It's just someone at sea's campaign. And he only owns 2 provinces and a bit of one more. And he has actually managed to get himself a defensive alliance with the dwarfs, and the dwarfs have actually made a confederation with Zufbar, so we can see that is definitely a thing. Up to this point we'd all generally been assuming it is a thing, that you could have a confederation with the same race and automatically gain their lands and armies, that sort of stuff. Kinda how Gauls could in Rome and stuff like that, and the other factions could recreate the sort of Roman Empire in some of the Attila expansions. I think that was just the last Roman expansion actually, which was quite nice just to have that confirmed. And he says the reason he got this defensive alliance with the dwarfs was because he accidentally caused a war with the main greenskin tribes, and after fighting off a few of their doom stacks, the dwarfs actually became really friendly and even set off at his request to help him defend one of his settlements from the orcs, even though it caused him quite a bit of attrition. So the AI definitely seems to be very helpful. And all of a sudden out of nowhere my nose is blocked, which is why my voice is probably sounding a wee bit different than it was at the beginning of the video. Now there was a lot of wee teasers in this video, the biggest of which was about chaos, because as he's talking about why he's expanded to the north, as he wants to create this defensive frontier, because it was over 100 turns in and chaos was storming in and attacking the Empire. Oh, excuse me. Like mad. And you could even see Archon. I can't talk today. I can't pronounce things today. Coming in on the distance, just over that wee pass. I can't remember the name of it, but the one chaos streams through into the lands of men. And the main thing that was really teased about chaos is when you go to this army besides the Ever-Chosen's army, it had all this weird tentacle animation coming out of it and flying about the place, and they were just sort of like, oh, that just means something is there. There's something in that army that is not in any of the Chaos armies we've seen before. And that was a real big tease, and it's just trying to suggest that there's something big we do not know about Chaos. Now I've seen speculation that it might be a greater demon of Zinj or something like that, but it's actually quite hard to think what would cause that tentacle sort of mutilation coming out of the army and spreading through the land. Just to present, there's nothing that would go right. Is definitely that in the lure that I'm aware of. Greater demons vary drastically in the lure, not so much in the tabletop. So it is possible that it is some sort of weird greater demon ability, but it's definitely not something I've heard of, having this sort of tentacles flying all over the place as though we're from Japan, and we're not going to go any further on that one. So yeah, there's some sort of really big sort of secret there that they've just sort of said, oh, there might be something coming up to do with when we release Chaos information. The other huge tease in this video we'll go into next is they like to spend some time talking about how they spent time building up in this campaign video, and they're now able to recruit some of the late game units for the vampire counts. And they're in the middle of getting rid of some of their useless cannon fodder and replacing them with these uber units. And it's talking about the Cairn Wraiths and how they're really powerful. It's describing why they're powerful. It's talking about how they have 75% reduction to physical damage because they're ethereal, and how they do this flaming damage, and how they've got this really good charge. They're one of the best cavalry units in the game. And what was it? It's talking about stuff like that. And then it just goes on to say, all these sort of late game units we've been talking about, we're going to see them in a battle soon. It was slightly hinted that it was going to be in a battle from this campaign and them attacking a city they were besieging, but they didn't actually say that. So it's sort of speculation, sort of they were leading you that way, maybe intentionally, maybe not. But to me it doesn't really matter if it's from that campaign or not. It's a battle, it's a battle. If we're going to see lots of late tier units for the vampire counts, that's just going to be great, because they're going to have so many very unique units. I'm really interested to see the Terrorgeist Scream and how powerful it will be, or if the Terrorgeist even has its Scream and it's just a melee large sort of monster. I'm really interested to see if they'll show us a zombie dragon. I'm really interested to see how large Firegeist units are, and that is the sort of thing I'm expected to see from this video. They teased about. Right, that is enough about what they were teasing us about. What else did they show us in this video? They showed us the Raised Dead mechanic on the campaign map, and it sort of works a lot like how Mercenaries would work in older Total Wars, but with a different sort of way to increase the pool. In older Total Wars, when you didn't recruit a lot of mercenaries, or you got that off chance that there was that mercenary boon in the area, or the opposite, there was a decrease, it was all just sort of chance, whether it be a lot of mercenaries, little mercenaries, depends if you had been recruiting them, the AI had been recruiting them, and they replenished over time. In this, you sort of have this small pool of some of your cannon fodder units, and then if you fight battles in the area, it'll sort of increase this pool, and you'll start getting access to more advanced units that you can just create on the campaign map like they're mercenaries. And once you've recruited them, it'll cost more than it would be recruiting them the normal old fashioned way. But once you've recruited them, that's how you recruited them. They won't have the extra upkeep that older mercenaries had in older Total Wars. And it's not just battles you fight. Al did talk about a strategy he had been using where he'd sort of manipulated two factions into hating each other and forcing them to have battles all the time on his border, so there'd be mass battle sites where he could just recruit really fast some of his really good units. So I thought this was quite interesting as well. It really sort of plays into the vampire counts sort of way. They're sort of sinister, trying to pluck things from behind the scenes before they finally show their cards and jump out into the light, or the night as it would be in their case. But you get what I mean. Saying jump out into the night doesn't really cover it like jumping out into the light would, does it? But you get what I mean. And so I'm really, really excited just how vastly different they're going to be, in combination with the stuff like I talked about earlier, where they can ally with a city and take over from within. They can manipulate others into fighting, and they seem to be this whole sort of secretive, sort of hide away, I'm not such a bad guy, oh crap, I've killed everyone and I'm won the game kind of faction. And these massed battles actually do appear on the map. Sort of, if you've played older Total Wars and you know when you fought a very good battle or a very large battle, these sort of 2 wee axes would sort of sit on the map to commemorate it. And so you'd always remember, oh look, there we had that battle, that was a lynch point in the campaign, it turned the whole thing around, and those little 2 axes are sitting there, and it's good to remember it. Whereas on this, it actually creates like a big sort of burial ground, war zone type looking thing, where you see souls flying out and all sorts going on, and when you recruit the raised dead, you actually see sort of more souls being sucked out and then go flying into your army. It was very nice, sort of animated wise, and it drew a good way. Have you described it earlier as it's as though it's old Total War mechanics but on steroids. And even such little things like those 2 wee axes in this game has just been blown out of proportion and is now a quite big and meaningful thing, not just from a narrative and immersion sort of perspective, but actually as a gameplay mechanic. One last thing I want to talk about in this video is we actually got to see the victory conditions, and I was actually quite surprised to see. But when you think about it as a fluff sort of perspective, I wasn't that surprised. But initially I was surprised to see that dealing with chaos is actually a victory condition for the vampire counts. And when you think about it as a gameplay sort of mechanic wise as well, it's not that surprising because they're supposed to be like the end game boss. But it was just my initial thoughts before when I was thinking about vampire counts, well, their ultimate goal is probably going to become the emperor. They're always going on about how they're the rightful emperor and they should be in control of the empire, and it should be the vampire count empire, not the human empire. And that's sort of like a big thing to their sort of egotistical ways. It's sort of been seeded through them through the generations from Vlad to Manfred. Guaranteed that's only one generation, but you get what I'm saying. So I always just sort of thought becoming the Empire was going to be their like ultimate goal. Though it is nice to see that destroying the Empire faction, the main actual playable Empire faction, is one of their minor victory conditions, as well as I was quite interested to see how this works out. It's described as like pushing chaos back into the wastes. I wonder how that one works. It's probably going to mean something like there's no chaos past that bottleneck I was trying to describe earlier. And the third victory condition, which was really surprising for me, Archon the Everchosen needs to be at least wounded. So I thought that was quite interesting as well. Then if you go on to their longer term victory conditions, their long term major victory conditions, it just adds Bretonia and the dwarves to the factions that must be destroyed. So there we go, there we have it folks. I got ninja'd by CA, but that's all we really need to know. That's the information I pulled out of it. I've spoken about everything else we've seen in this video before, like the wee portals from Chaos. So yeah, the only thing I want to add is, once again, it's reinforcing that taking settlements isn't as important as it was in older Total Wars, because he has over 100 turns in and he owns 2 provinces and a bit. So I just want to emphasise that a bit. Again, your ultimate goal is not to conquer a lot of land. So yeah, hope you've all enjoyed this. I'm definitely very eager to see this game. I've had some minor disappointments with Siege, but I'm waiting to see how that plays out. But the stuff like this video just blows me away, and it keeps me thinking this game is going to be absolutely awesome. I do really think it's going to be a very, very good game. My minor hiccups with the CJs is probably something, just me being a wee moany baloney. I'll probably get over it in 5 seconds. And yeah, that's probably like the least of my worries kind of thing. I'm really, really looking forward to this game. Really, really looking forward to getting to try it out a week today. Well, no, I'll be travelling down a week today to rest, in case you thought I was actually going to see you. I wish. See, if you're watching, I probably don't have time to come down, but I want to. A man can wish. See you all next time. I've just been rambling on for the last couple of minutes. Bye bye. Hope you enjoyed it. See you there.